Hi everyone, this is Darren with SimNation, just doing another video. This time we're going to focus on our Draft Day Sports Pro Football League, which is WWPF. So if you're a pro football fan who likes following the NFL, this video will be with you. So the regular season is finally here after a long offseason. And Week 1 delivered all the action, drama, and high-scoring games that we could have asked for. In this video, I'm going to break down some of those games, spotlight our top performers, and give you a sneak peek at what's coming in Week 2. So without further ado, let's just go ahead and dive straight in. So let's open this up. So some of the games we got to talk about. Definitely Week 1 was a scoring frenzy. For those of you who follow WWPF, you know we're trying to restore parity between offense and defense. So you will see higher scoring games. The games, though, are a little bit less high scoring, a little bit, than they were in the previous season. But we are making some progress with getting that parity back. After we had a run of too many good offensive players, not enough defensive size, not enough good defensive players. But let's talk about what happened in Week 1. So one of the games I want to spotlight is the Cleveland Browns versus the New York Giants. This is BioEagle against DWK. Bio scored 21 points in the fourth quarter to come back and down DWK and his Giants. If you remember from the preview, the Giants are kind of one of the teams I'm watching to win the NFC East. And Bio is always a hard opponent to take. In another game, mostly I think the score was because Kev forgot to switch himself from preseason to regular season, but it didn't matter. The Jets still managed to down the Bills, although kudos to Cotton, who has the Bills. He hung with the Jets to the very end and made the game very close, so fans were really probably excited about that. And probably one of the more blowout-ish type games came between Cincinnati, who is Starfinder, and Washington, who is Udo. Starfinder hung 54 on the Commanders, and Udo only managed to score 34, so it was a 20-point win. Wasn't the biggest one by far of the week. That I think was probably reserved for Tony over at the Indianapolis Colts, with over Simon with the Arizona Cardinals. But still, great win regardless for Starfinder in Week 1. Great win for Tony in Week 1. And then we had probably our closest game of the week that went into overtime, which was the Tennessee Titans. Where's Tennessee? Sorry. I think by now I'd get it. Tennessee Titans were upset by the Seattle Seahawks. Bama dropped this one in overtime, largely due to the heroics of Crutchell, who's one of the best quarterbacks in the league, who came up big in overtime to allow for the Seahawks to take a game against a very tough Titans squad. So when we think about the top performers of the week, definitely the person we probably got to talk about is this guy right here, Maynard McKnight. Maynard, probably not the view I wanted though, but Maynard had just a monster game in this one. He was 33 of 39, completed 85% of his passes for 413 yards with 5 touchdowns, averaged over 10.6 yards per throw. Only was sacked 3 times, had a rating of 150.4. That's massive. I do think that one of the things that probably contributed a little bit to this game being the way it was is the injury was Perryman not being able to stay in the game. Perryman is really that offense now when it comes to throwing the ball. Of course, he was 17 of 19 for 90%, 291 yards, 3 touchdowns. Only got sacked twice. But the difference between him and Hong is pretty substantial. And I think that probably did skew the game a little bit away from the Giants when they looked to have it in hand really late in the third quarter when they were up 42-21. Special shout out though has to go to the Saints quarterback. He had a very big game as well. So you see Howell Hill. We'll just take a look at that real quick. So he was 29 of 37 for 412 yards, 4 touchdowns. Just big game for him as well. as he kept the Saints largely in this game against a much better Denver squad who was really hell-bent on winning it. And then you have, from the rushing perspective, a name that's not unfamiliar to anybody in the WWPF, which is the heart and soul of the Carolina Panthers, which is Maurice Edwards. He had a really big game yet again, 29 rushes, 139 yards, 1 touchdown. He really put the team on his back and enabled Baker to be able to open up the passing lanes and have a really, really strong game. If we look back at that Cincinnati game that we mentioned earlier, probably the best receiving performance came out of this game, which was Cincinnati's Mark Hansen. Again, Starfinder going out and getting Campbell was a huge deal. It instantly put them in a playoff wildcard race. Hansen benefited greatly from that. Look at this, over 28.2 yards per catch. That's pretty amazing, even in the offensive-minded WWPF league. He had 6 receptions for 169 yards on 8 targets. Just a really strong game from him. It's really hard to find defensive performances after this week, but week one's always hard because everyone is adjusting to each other. I am probably going to make some tweaks between week 1 and week 2 just quietly to try to continue to advance the defense a little bit. It'll be across the board. But probably the person we don't want to forget is on the Jets, who had a pretty big game, which was Michael Beatty. I would give him the Defensive Player of the Week award. He was just a nightmare to the opposing offensive line. He racked up 8 tackles, 3 sacks, and he forced a fumble. And you can see also here that he had was targeted once, and I don't think the person completed that pass. So 2 tackles for loss to go on top of that. Really great job out of Kev's defense there. And Kev is actually a pretty decent defensive coach. He gets a lot of credit for his offense in the WWPF with the New York Jets, but people can't really forget that he is also a very strong defensive coach. As we look to week 2, if it's any indication with week 1, we'll see another lot of high-scoring games. Going to try to curtail that a little bit, but we'll see how that rolls. You have Chicago, who's going to look to bounce back from their heartbreak against the Buffalo Bills. Buffalo is, of course, coached by Curtis, and Curtis is made a lot of great gains with his squad here. You can see here in week 1, they downed the Green Bay Packers. I don't think Curtis expected to win that one, but this is a really good Buffalo squad. Daniel Tate, we talked about in the preview, is a lights-out type quarterback. John Moses is a really strong running. He's got the right defense with Clyde Edward, and he really drafted a strong draft of a bunch of younger players. Green Bay is going to try to bounce back as well. They get the Jets. They're going to have to try to slow them down. Good luck with that, CPU. You're not going to do it. This one will be high scoring, but the Jets, look for the Jets to lay the hammer down on Green Bay. Battle of Pennsylvania. So this one should be really excited. Me versus Don with Philadelphia versus Pittsburgh. Both teams are going to be looking to make a statement about who is the dominant force within Pennsylvania. You'll see that Philadelphia lost a nail biter against Baltimore. Of course, the Steelers down the Cowboys. Sorry, I'm smiling. Just general history with me, I am actually a Steelers fan. So anytime we beat the Cowboys, because my brother was a Cowboy fan, I just smile. Makes me feel happy. Yeah. Not America's team. Sorry about that. Moving on. I got to get that out of my head. Of course, Cowboys will look to bounce back against the Ravens. Baltimore, of course, won. Dallas, of course, lost. Templar is a really good coach, so I do expect him to bounce back in this one. Baltimore is a very, very good CPU team. If you wanted to join this league and wanted to take a team that's pretty good, that would definitely be Baltimore. Kev set them up for success a long time ago. So that's kind of it for this recap and week 2 preview. Who do you think had the best performance of this week? Let me know in the comments below. At the same time, if you want to join this league, we do have some open teams. I can kind of highlight those real quick for you, just so that way you know which teams maybe you could come in and take. Green Bay's one, Atlanta's one, New Orleans is one. You've got the LA Rams. You've got the Seattle Seahawks. This is a really good team if you're interested. So is Atlanta, by the way. You have Baltimore, who's open. You have Jacksonville, that's open over Hill. And then you pretty much have the whole West, except minus Denver. So Kansas City, San Diego, and Oakland. Oakland is a team I would really take a look at. They had a great coach named Peter. But definitely let us know, and we will do another one of these as week 2 runs on Sunday. Have a great night, and thank you for your time and your support as always.